And welcome to another one of my live stream lectures. And before I get into today's topic, I just want to take a moment to thank all of my supporters and everyone for supporting my channel. So with that being said, let's get on down to today's lecture, which is give yourself a raise. Give yourself a raise. I don't care if you are still in the workforce. I don't care if you are retired or whatever your primary source of income is. Give yourself a raise. I fully retired September of 2023. I have been full retirement for 2 solid years. And let me tell you something, even in retirement, I continue to give myself a raise. I continue to generate multiple streams of income in retirement, not even counting my pension retirement income. But the critical thing is, give yourself a raise. And what I mean by that is one of the things I do to continuously give myself a raise. Well, number one, when I entered retirement with no debt, people. That's critical right there. And what I mean by no debt, I mean I have no mortgage, I have no credit cards, I have no car note, I have no school loans, I have no medical bills, nothing other than my food and utilities and cell phone bill, and I pay my car insurance every 6 months. So I have no real debt, and I had no real debt years before I retired. So because of that, I'm able to still, because I embrace a minimalistic lifestyle, meaning I cut loose a lot of my worldly possessions. And what that did is it freed me up to have more disposable income, meaning AKA I continuously give myself a raise month after month, year after year. And what I do with that additional disposable income that I accumulate on a monthly basis, a weekly basis, I pump that money into my emergency savings account. I continue to invest in my portfolio. So I'm always thinking of ways to give myself a raise. Another key point, giving yourself a raise, and I did this strategy throughout years before I retired. Another way is to make sure you can give your own self a raise is as you pay off any kind of debt. I don't care if it's a credit card, a car note, paid off your mortgage, paid off your school loans. You don't owe anybody nothing. As you begin to pay off debt, to pay down debt, and I talk about the strategy that I'm literally talking about right now in my powerful book that hit all major bookstores a few years ago, is one of the game plans I did to get out of my financial destruction was as I eliminated debt, that money that I would have been paying on that bill, rather it was, because at one point I was in credit card debt and mortgage and car note and school, all of that. But as I began to eliminate and tackle my debt, that same money, and when I paid a particular debt off, that same money that I would have been spending on that debt, it also requires a shift in your mindset. I took that same money and I diverted it into my emergency savings account or my financial portfolio. But you gotta first switch your mindset, because the money was being spent anyway. So as I began to eliminate debt after debt, I began to divert money into my financial portfolio, pump up my emergency savings account, increase the amount going into my retirement account. And I did that strategy years before I retired. And so when I retired September of 2023, and here we are now in September of 2025, my life is still debt-free, for the exception of my cell phone bill, food, and I pay my car insurance once every 6 months. So I still use these same strategies that I talk about in my book title, Awake Financial Freedom. Because let me hip you on something. From 2007 to 2012, and I talk about this in my book, from 2007 to 2012, Marie Holiday was living in financial destruction. I was one of those folks drowning in a sea of debt, living from paycheck to paycheck, bills hitting me left and right, still getting up and going to work every day, working 2 and 3 jobs. And when I got tired of living like that, and I literally talk about my spiritual battle in 2012 with God, when God gave me the skills to write my manuscript to my book titled Awake Financial Freedom. My manuscript got accepted by 2 world-renowned publishing companies, and the rest is history. But I say that to say I still use my same strategies all the way up into 2025 to continue to pay myself, to continue to give myself a raise. And one of the key ingredients to do that in terms of giving myself a raise is do not create new debt along the way. There we go. Do not create any new debt along the way as you pay down debt, as you eliminate debt. While you're doing that, don't create any new debt, because now you're freeing up more and more disposable income. And then you look up, you got $10,000 worth of emergency funds, $15,000 worth of emergency funds. You're pumping up your financial portfolio, but none of that can happen until you shift your mindset, until you begin to master your money, to control your money, to respect your money. Real talk, people. So when I get ready to do things like travel abroad, I do everything in cash. I don't create any kind of new debt when I'm getting ready to travel, or anything that I may need to do, or if a financial emergency was to occur, I just pull that money out of my emergency savings account, take care of that financial emergency, because the goal is to not create new debt. And that's how I have been able to continuously give myself a financial raise in retirement, people. This is real talk. And I'm telling you, you gotta shift your mindset, because many people, a lot of times when they pay off a debt, or if they pay off that credit card, they turn right around and max out that credit card again. When they pay off that car, they turn their behinds right around and go out and get a high-end vehicle. So now they got a higher car note, higher car insurance, or they may refinance their mortgage. Now they got a second mortgage. So you're on that Gerber wheel, and you are becoming a slavery to debt. If you do not shift your mindset, I don't care what's going on in the economy. The economy ain't got nothing to do with my mindset, and shifting my mindset and having my faith in God, because I want to give all I want to give all credit to God for giving me the skills to master my money, to control my money, to give myself a raise, all by the glory of God. Because I talk about in 2012, when I had a 24-hour spiritual battle with God, when I got tired of being on that Gerber wheel, when I got tired of being a slavery to debt. And after I got done having that 24-hour battle with God, when I woke up that next morning, the transformation of Marie Holiday occurred. That's when I began to write my manuscript to my powerful book, Awake Financial Freedom, and the rest is history. If I can do this, anybody can do this. And I'm here to tell you, it's power. It is power when you learn how to master your money, to control your money, to shift your mindset. And the most important piece in doing that is you gotta begin to start building that emergency savings account. That first $500, that first $1,000, that first $5,000, that first $20,000. So don't matter what financial emergency occur, you are not creating new debt to resolve that financial emergency. Real talk, people, because I've had quite a few financial emergencies that came up in my 2 years of retirement. But you know what? It's power. Irregardless of what that financial emergency that unfolded, it is power. When you can pull from your financial savings account, your emergency savings account, and deal with that financial emergency without creating new debt, without relying on a credit card, without going out and getting a personal loan, without borrowing from anybody. Real talk, people. And this thing is power. And when you pull from your emergency savings account and take care of that financial emergency, then the second piece is you develop that strategic plan to pay yourself back, to pay you back. That's power. And I've been using this strategy, I'm telling you, ever since I rose above my financial situation in 2012, all the way up until 2025, people. This is real talk. They don't teach you this in graduate school. The only thing graduate school, I got 2 master's degrees. I got 2 graduate degrees. The only thing college taught me, rural, was how to get in debt. Debt in school loan, debt in credit card, debt after debt after debt after debt. College did not teach me the powerful words that God gave me to write my manuscript, Awake Financial Freedom. It took me going through financial destruction, people, from 2007 to 2012 to give this testimony. And I tell anybody, I sometimes will read my own book, reread my own book. This book can be available in any major platform, audio tune, or audio book, and all of it. Sometimes I will listen to my own book, reread my own book, and it gives me chills. It literally gives me chills because I cannot believe, by all grace and glory to the Almighty God, that He gave me the skills and the wisdom to tell my testimony in this powerful book. I sometimes will use my own book all the way up until 2025 to sustain my financial health, people, to sustain my mindset when it comes to mastering my money, controlling my money, giving myself a raise. This is real talk. I learned none of this in none of these chapters, none of this in graduate school, none of it. You got people in their 20s, the 30s, the 40s, the 50s, the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, and even older drowning in a sea of debt because, number one, they have failed to shift their mindset when it comes to money, mastering your money, giving yourself a raise. You got to shift that mindset, people, and the rest is history. I'm telling you, the core concept of my strategic business plan, the core concept of my YouTube channel, the core concept of my book, Awake Financial Freedom, all ties into that money piece. Yeah, I may talk about other topics, but I'm going to always revisit the core concept of my mission, goals, and objective, my reason for being in front of these cameras, people. This thing is real. You got people right now who are scared to go to their mailbox, drowning in a sea of debt. You got people who are contemplating hurting themselves because their debt is so out of control to the point that they are losing sleep. They cannot even rest at all, afraid to go to the mailbox because they are drowning in a sea of debt, facing foreclosure, facing eviction, facing car being repossessed. This is real talk, people, because I'm gonna bring it to you real. When I get ready to do my thought-provoking lectures, I'm ready to get down to business. This thing is real. I'm telling you, Awake Financial Freedom, I want to give all grace and glory to the Almighty God for giving me the skills and the knowledge to write my manuscript, to continue to use these strategies that I talked about in this book, to sustain my financial health, to be able to reinvest. I don't know too many people in this big old wide world. I fully retired at the age of 59, fully from this workforce. After 41 years of working in my adult life. I don't know too many people who can fully retire. And I have been in full retirement for 2 years. And I'm in a position, because God gave me these skills, where all of my retirement income that I have been getting for 2 years, rural, I ain't even touched the money. Don't need the money. Don't touch the money. I reinvest all 100% of my retirement income, rural, into another retirement account. And I want to give grace and thanks to God for awakening me, for awakening my financial freedom, so I can enjoy this journey in life. And be on this trajectory path as long as God gives me breath, to continue to be on this trajectory path, to go see all of the 7 wonders of the world, people, debt-free. That is what life is all about. Like I said, they didn't teach me this in graduate school. It took me going through financial destruction from 2007 to 2012 in that spiritual battle with God. And God gave me the skills to write my manuscript, and the rest is history. That's all I have. Simplify, simple fidelis, and I'm going to leave you in the care of your own conscience. Have a great day.